Hey, Journey Youth family, Pastor Sam here. Wanted to take you on a journey tonight. What we're talking about this evening is what it means for us to experience physical isolation, but not necessarily step into relational isolation. So in the attempts to help you navigate what it means for you to make the most of this time without losing connectivity to your friends, to your family, to your parents, to your neighbors, I want to take you on a journey. So the hope is by the end of our time together, you're not only more encouraged, but maybe you're a little bit more aware of where you're at and how you can take some great steps into making the most of this time, being healthy, being confident, and really enjoying this season more than dreading it. So I'd love for you to go on this journey with me. It's going to be awesome. So in the book of Ecclesiastes, we actually see this whole idea that when you're isolated, when you're by yourself, it's very dangerous. You are exposed. You're more vulnerable to the enemy than you are when you're around other people. So I want to ask this question, the whole idea of being physically isolated compared to being relationally isolated. Is it possible for us to, be separated from each other physically? We're not at school. We're not at sports activities together. We're not driving in a car together. We might stop by the other person's house and wave from afar. But, the whole premise is in this time we're not physically together, but is it possible that we could still be relationally together? I actually believe it's very much possible. And I actually believe that it's not just possible, but it's mandatory for us in this time to engage in a rich and real way with our friends, with our family, with neighbors, with our mentor. And so really this conversation today is all about how can we take those steps into engaging relationally with each other while we can't be there physically for each other. So the question is this, you guys: how is it that we can be told that we have to isolate ourselves from each other, but yet we can still engage and flourish relationally with each other? It's one of those things where if we're not intentional, if we're not thinking about it, it's easy for us to allow time to pass and we miss out on the things that are super important. One of my favorite statements that I've ever heard said, I say it all the time, you've probably heard me say it many times, and that is the idea that relationships are oxygen. They are literally the life flow of our life. So I think it really starts off with identifying the why. Why does it matter? Why is it important for us to understand and function in authentic community, engaging with people on a real relational way? Everything in life really has a why. The reason why we do things, there's a why behind it. The things that we say, there's a why behind it. The decisions that we make, there's a why behind it. And so for us to understand the significance of being engaged relationally with other people always starts with the why. I think it starts with this, friends. God designed us to be connected with other people. God designed us to be in authentic community and real relationships with other people. That's why this season is so tough for so many of us. We're separated. We're afar. We're trying to wrestle with the idea that we don't have our normal routine. We don't have our normal relationships and friendships right in front of us. But yet we're still trying to figure out this whole engagement. Zoom, we're doing the best that we can. But I've heard from so many people, I love Zoom, but it's just not the same. And it's so true. But just because it isn't the same doesn't mean that this time that we have away from each other can't be as effective as the time that we're close to each other. Really, I think this is a season where we are learning that maybe some of the time we spend with each other in person isn't as real as we think it is. I don't know about you, but I struggle sometimes being honest with the people closest to me about how life actually is. Have you ever had that struggle before where you say things, they sound sweet, they sound cool, but they're not real? Where you talk about life at home being okay, but in all reality it isn't. Or, maybe life with friends is okay, but in all reality it isn't. Maybe you post specific things on your social media platforms, and the whole purpose for you doing that is to, display something that isn't authentic, to create an illusion that your life is maybe better than it is. I think sometimes we do that in our relationships. And right now, we have an amazing opportunity to ask ourselves, what makes relationships? What makes the friendships in our life and our family relationships in our life? What makes those so significant? I think about the fact that my closest friends know the most about me. The people that love me the most know the good, the bad, and the ugly. I would ask you this question. Are there people in your life that only know the good? Or are there people in your life that know the good, the bad, and the ugly? A real friend sees us at our worst, but yet loves us the most. We want our life groups to be that, to be a safe place, to be a place where no matter the lifestyle, no matter the situation, no matter the struggle, no matter the home life, every person feels welcome. But why? Once again, let's go back to the deeper why. Why does all of that matter? Why is it significant? Because friends, let me tell you this truth. We need relationships. We need friends. We need people in our life that know us. We need people in our life that love us. It's one of the reasons why we have mentors in our life groups. These are people that take time out of their busy weeks. These are people that take time out of their life, sometimes years out of their life, to invest and to pour into people like you. Because we all need someone. We all need a group of people that love us, that know us, that care for us, even when we're at our worst. So my question for you is this. Do you have a friend that knows you in that way? Over my journey in life, what I found is that the people that know the most about me, the people that I've allowed into my life, that I trust with some of the most, specific information, details about my life, hardships, things that I'm struggling with, those are the people I feel safest around. That's a lot of what the book of Ecclesiastes is talking about. When we're alone, meaning when nobody knows the issues that we're going through. When we're alone, meaning the troubles that we're navigating, we're on our own because nobody's walking beside us. We are vulnerable. It's so much more than being physically close to somebody. This whole physical isolation thing does not limit necessarily our ability to be a support for our friends and for our friends to be a support for us. I think about the times in my life when I was close to a lot of people, where I had a lot of friends. I think about high school, a lot like really the season that a lot of you were in, or middle school, where I was physically close to a lot of people. But there were many moments when I actually felt lonely. I felt like I was all alone. Have you ever had one of those moments where even though you were around a bunch of people, you felt like you were by yourself? And I think the reason why we encounter moments like that is because our relationships aren't built on what God designed them to be built on. They were designed to be built on love. They were designed to be built on acceptance. They were designed to be built on really what Christ does with us, even though we fall short, even though we have weak moments, even though life can get tough. Christ still loves us. He still died for us. He still cares for us. And the same thing needs to be true for us. We need to have friendships where those people in our life can do that for us. When we fall, they can pick us up. Come on, when we fail, they can encourage us. So I want to talk about the idea that when people know the details about our life, we're actually a lot safer. I keep thinking about that scripture in Ecclesiastes that gives us this picture of two people being stronger than one. And it's this idea of this individual being all by themselves, where they are alone. Nobody's with them, nobody's beside them. And there's this constant struggle of feeling alone, like you're navigating life. Nobody knows the things they need to know about you. And it's not safe, my friends. You've got to have people that are close to you, that know the details, that know the struggles. Now, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying go tell the whole world your issues, because that wouldn't be wise. But what I am trying to communicate is you've got to have some trusted people that are in your life, that know your story, that know your struggle, and can actually partner with you during this time. So that's what we want tonight to be about. We want tonight to be all about engaging in better conversation than what we're used to. Where maybe for some of us that are feeling a little lonely, for some of us that are maybe having feelings of depression, or you're anxious, you're fearful, you're struggling, where you can be honest about that. But you know what? This is what I do ask. Everybody, can we just agree that this is a safe place, that we can share what's on our heart because we need to, because we actually crave it, guys. We crave being honest. We crave being real. We crave presenting to the world who we actually are. It is exhausting. I don't know if I can get some amens from you guys. It is exhausting putting on a front. It is exhausting trying to walk around pretending to be someone you're not, and walking around pretending to be better off than you actually are. So to recap, what does it mean to be relationally isolated? Well, what it means to be relationally isolated is taking a step back, pulling away from friends, pulling away from your family, pulling away from the people in your life that care about you. It's this not just a physical distancing that happens, it's a little bit of an emotional distancing where you start to minimize how much you communicate. You start pulling back and you don't answer text messages, or you don't share the honest truth like you used to. And if you're feeling any of that right now, I just want you to know you're not the only one. But I don't want you to stay there. I want you to take some steps tonight in being honest about your reality. And I promise, if you do that, you will go to bed and sleep a lot better tonight, because you know there are people that are in your corner. There are people that love you. There are people that care for you. And there are people in your life group and in your world that want to see you get through this quarantine, safe at home season better than maybe you were when you started. So to wrap things up, I want to encourage you with this. God never wanted you to do life alone and to be alone. He wants you connected with people, because we need true, genuine friendships and relationships. And so what I'm asking all of us to do is, we step into this time of small groups within our life groups. Let's have some real conversation. Let's talk about how we're doing. You know, we all are physically isolated, but it does not mean we're all relationally isolated. I know that there are some, and you would say that you sort of correlate and align with the definition of relational isolation, where you would say that you've pulled back, where you would say that you've disengaged a little bit, that you've stopped answering text messages, you aren't telling the honest truth. I don't want you to feel shame in that, but I want you to take a step toward that not being your reality. And that can happen tonight in our small groups, where you can engage in good conversations. And students, let me just tell you this. I know you're not going to like me saying this, but I need to say it. Your parents love you. They want to be involved in your world. They might not be able to speak the language you speak or understand everything that you say, but my friends, they care so much about you. So I would even challenge you to take it a step further after life groups tonight and have some conversations with them. See what it would look like for you to explain to your parents how maybe they can help you get through this season. But friends, we love you so much across all of our campuses, our staff, our mentors, leaders. Everybody loves you. We believe in you, and we are here for you. Don't hesitate to reach out if you need us. Love you guys. Have an amazing night of discussions, and just cannot wait to hear about all of the good stuff that comes out of all of the time that you have together. See you, friends.